Good morning to you guys here. It is Monday, June 23rd, 2025. Hope you guys are all doing well out there. And believe it or not, guys, for the first time this year, we may in fact get our first named storm of the Atlantic hurricane season, potentially here. Some limiting factors that could make this reach tropical storm status or not. The good news is this is not going to have any impacts to the United States. This is not going to have any impact at all to land anywhere. This is sitting out in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean doing its own thing. So the crazy thing about it is that it's taken this long for us to get potentially our first storm name. This may in fact get tropical storm status. For anybody that does not know, it's not a weather nerd or anything, that you do have to have this be hitting a tropical storm. It has to hit tropical storm status to officially get a name. The first name on the list this year for the A would be the Andrea name. If this does in fact reach 40-mile-an-hour winds, we could get our first name storm, but it's going to be a very short-lived storm. This is expected to encounter very unfavorable water conditions, as very unfavorable environment in general going through into tomorrow. So it's got about a 24-hour window here to get itself together and become a tropical depression or get its first name of the year. May or may not happen. We'll see what happens with this. But other than that, this is our first invest of the Atlantic hurricane season here this year. I know it's, like I said, it's crazy that we started this back 23 days ago and we're just now getting our first invest of the year. But that's a good thing. We'll take the slow start. We like to see that. We don't want to see any hurricanes or any tropical storms making landfall. So something to keep an eye on here today with that. Other than that, we are also watching our 6th potential name storm that will be coming into play here down here in the Pacific Ocean after we just had that massive hurricane make landfall in Mexico. The good news as of right now, this is not expected to go towards Mexico. This would be another fish storm again as well. Another thing we do need to kind of start to watch potentially going into next week here is some activity down here near the CAG, the Central American Gyre. This is where we typically see a lot of our early season storms kind of go like this, or they go this direction, or they go this direction. A lot of different directions here as we go into the month of July here. This is kind of what Beryl did, kind of what some of these other early name storms did, is they form in the CAG, and then they either go west or they go north into the Gulf. So kind of something to watch here. Like I said, we're also not seeing a lot of waves, anything. There could be a little wave coming off the coast of Africa as well next week, but nothing expected to hit the Gulf, go anywhere near the United States. We're going to be good for at least as of right now, maybe even after the 4th of July holiday season would be good to wait for things on here. That way people can travel and all of that. So just something to be mindful of. Not expecting anything, no U.S. impacts at all in the next 10 to 21 days, I would say. Really 10 to 14 days, but even looking past that point, it doesn't look like we're going to see a lot as of right now, but things can change, so just keep you guys updated on that. What we are going to focus on today is going to be severe weather. We do have a pretty decent shot at some severe weather, some low-end severe weather, anywhere from UP, Michigan, and Canada, all the way down here to the Midwest, the Central Plains, and even into Texas. So today will probably be our last big widespread day. Not even widespread, I would say more scattered and numerous day. I wouldn't be shocked to see SPC go with a level 3 enhanced stress for damaging winds somewhere up in Wisconsin or Iowa. They may do it, they may not. It just depends. I will let you guys know we're not going to be doing any weather coverage today, tomorrow. These next couple of days are very isolated and scattered. If something crazy were to pop off or happen, we'll be on standby, but we are going to be doing streams. It's just going to be some different other streams. We're going to hang out. I would like to do some kind of weather tutorials with you guys this week, kind of talk weather stuff, just kind of hang out for a little bit. We haven't had to really sit down and do any chill streams or just hang out at all as a group here, or not as a group, but as in general, just in general as on my channel here, because it's been go. So we're going to try and do that. We'll cover severe weather if it needs to get covered. But other than that, so you guys need to be mindful today if you live from Wisconsin, UP, Michigan, all the way back down here into the plains and into Texas. A very isolated to scattered threat today for severe weather. And we'll kind of see severe weather start to taper off as we go towards the middle of the week and get ready for next week as we approach the 4th of July season. So other than that, severe weather in the plains, up in the Midwest, upper portions of the Great Lakes there, quiet in the Ohio River Valley, quiet in the Southeast, and quiet everywhere else. Not expecting much. I will let you guys know as well, we did see some snow yesterday in Idaho and southern Montana as well. So something to another thing to just throw on the bucket list there for the month of June. So something we did see in fact happen yesterday. Not anything too crazy, but there was some snow accumulations up in Idaho and southern Montana with that low that came through yesterday. Good news also with yesterday, we did not see any widespread tornadoes at all. That was a good thing. We had a couple tornado warnings, a couple confirmed tornadoes, but not anything too significant yesterday either. So another reason why we didn't stream yesterday. I just didn't think that yesterday was going to be too much of a big deal, and it in fact was not too big of a deal. We had some storms, but not anything too crazy. All right, let's talk about here what we're going to be seeing here going into this week here and kind of talk about today. We do have a level 2 slight risk here that goes from Michigan and UP, Michigan back down into Wisconsin, Iowa, southeastern portions of Minnesota, getting into northwestern portions of Missouri here. Level 2 slight risk here, and then a marginal risk outside of that. General thunderstorms outside of that in the general light green color there. We do have a small 2% tornado risk that goes from, or not a small, but a 2% tornado risk that goes from central Kansas all the way up into UP, Michigan, and Michigan here. Be mindful, have alerts on your phones. You guys know the drill here. I don't have to say it too much, but just know where to go when you get a tornado warning if something does in fact happen. Wind threat at 15 and 5% for winds up to 70 miles per hour, and then the hail threat also at 5%. Very low wind threat. Today's mostly going to be a wind threat as of right now, so we'll keep you guys updated on that. Tomorrow things get a little bit more interesting. We start to enter what's called zonal flow. I mentioned that in yesterday's video. This is going to promote some pretty much day-to-day severe weather days, some marginal days, maybe some scattered scattered days across the Ohio Valley, the Northeast, getting up into the plains. We're going to have a ridge underneath of this that gets going again into next week here, or into the end of this week here and into next week, where we're going to start to see a big pattern shift here, where we really just start to see a lot of people become very hot and very gross. Not that it's already been that already here. It's been triple-digit heat indexes for much of the Ohio Valley and the Southeast this past week here, or at least into the weekend here that we just experienced. First major heat wave of the year, but this will continue to be a thing as we go into the month of July here. There will be severe weather, but it'll more than likely be in spurts as we go through the next couple of days here. There is a 2% tornado risk tomorrow. This goes from southern Montana back down here into Wyoming, Colorado, western Nebraska, western Kansas here, getting into western portions, or not Kansas, western portions of South Dakota. Be mindful of the isolated tornado threat there. Then we have a 15% and 5% wind threat, and also a 15 hatched hail threat, where we could see hail in and around Casper, Cheyenne, Denver, Colorado, Wyoming, southern Montana for up to 2+ inches in hail. Outside of that, 1 to 2 inches in diameter, and then the wind threat will be 60 to 70 miles per hour. We go into the day 3 forecast, and we do have another severe weather threat here, very low wind threat, level 1 risk out of 5. This goes a marginal risk back across that zonal flow. This goes for much of the plains here, Midwest, and portions of the Ohio Valley and Northeast, and then another one down here off the East Coast here as well. So once again, like I said, going to see these spurts of severe weather. Not going to be anything widespread. There'll be showers and thunderstorms out there. Honestly, I would love to have days like this because it'll make things cool off in the afternoon. Yes, the sun may come out and the humidity might be bad at the end of it, but it'll help temperatures and things cool off to get a nice little shower. So just kind of something to be mindful of there. Also, going through the day 4 through 8 outlook here, we don't have anything highlighted as of right now, but there could be some changes with that. Could be looking at some MCSs maybe going into the weekend here, maybe some severe weather on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. We'll kind of talk about that if we need to talk about that in the future here. Here's kind of a rough estimate of what's going to happen today. Showers and thunderstorms are going to fire off along a cold front here right around noonish, not noonish, but 3 to 4 o'clock-ish this afternoon. Most of these will be in a damaging wind form here with some hail. There could be a brief tornado concentrated somewhere in here. If any of these storms can stay semi-discrete or discrete, or even be kind of in a cluster here. So widespread convection today around 6 to 7 o'clock tonight. We'll have that ongoing. And then by later on tonight, that should start to diminish, and we just start to see, thunderstorms, general rain hanging around for much of the overnight hours across Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas there. And then as we go to tomorrow, we'll see another round of storms across the Ohio River Valley. You can see very, very scattered, or very, very wide, or isolated to scattered here in terms of where the coverage is going to be at. So just be mindful if you get put under one of these tropical downpours, or not tropical downpours, but one of these thunderstorm downpours here. We could see some heavy rainfall, could be some isolated wind, some hail, not expecting anything too crazy. And then we do need to get to the plains here, kind of talk about what's going to happen with you guys over here in the plains tomorrow. We could see a couple of brief tornadoes tomorrow afternoon here, with more than likely you're going to be seeing the large hail and the wind threat here out of this, but there could be a couple tornadoes as these storms initiate off of the Rockies here tomorrow. And one more thing we will look at here, just kind of looking at our upper level pattern as always here. We do have a next system that's going to be coming in going into Tuesday and Wednesday here. High pressure system still dominating off here on the East Coast and along the Ohio River Valley. You can see that big old trough that's going to be moving here, giving today's severe weather threat, and then tomorrow's severe weather threat down here in the southern portions of the central plains here. We're going to watch the system as we go into Thursday and Friday. We'll see a little bit of shear kind of interact here with these storms going into Thursday and Friday. Could see an MCS develop up here in Iowa, maybe Minnesota, Wisconsin for some damaging wind, some hail, maybe a brief tornado set up here. There also will be a high pressure system down here as well, back down here into across Florida, keeping things warm, keeping things tropical, keeping things gross. And then we start to see that zonal flow enter the picture here as we go into the end of the weekend, where that pattern change happens, and really going into the July 4th season next week, guys, or the July 4th holiday season. Much of the United States is going to be very, very dry. There will be chances of general thunderstorms every day, but it's going to be very, very different from what we've been experiencing over the last couple of weeks, really the last couple of months with our pattern. There still will be zonal flow across the United States here in the upper portions, giving us a threat for severe weather next week. There could be a little chance at some organized severe weather threat going into Monday and Tuesday of next week in the upper plains here, something we need to watch for upper Midwest. But other than that, look at this, guys. Going into the July 4th holiday here, we see much ridging here. That's a good thing. This keeps a lot of severe weather out of here. This will keep, like I said, general thunderstorms at play. It'll happen when you get daytime heating, and with just a little bit of dew points in the atmosphere, it will happen. The humidity values allow for those thunderstorms to kind of blow up there, and then they'll fall apart once they pretty much happen, because there's not going to be a lot of shear to interact with to keep them going. So something to be mindful of as we go into after the July 4th holiday season. We could start to see some things get active again. This is a little far out to kind of say at this point here, but we do also need to start to watch the tropics, especially as we go past that July 4th holiday season. That's typically when we start to see things ramp up here. Here's just a rough estimate here of what the rainfall totals could look like over the next 7 to 10 days. And you can see much of the rainfall is going to be up here in the upper Midwest, the Ohio Valley region, really 1 to 3 inches. Could see some isolated higher spots for storms that do train through about next week here. Just be mindful of that. High pressure system dominating as well back over here in the West Coast. Not going to see much. General thunderstorms, showers, and some low and severe weather threats will be possible going through the week. So, like I said, we'll be doing some chill live streams over the next couple of days. Not going to be doing any weather coverage streams as of right now. If things change, we'll let you guys know. Other than that, guys, have a wonderful, wonderful week. Have a wonderful day today. We'll be back again with another video tomorrow. And as always, if you are in risk zones, be safe, be weather aware, and we will see you guys in the next one.